Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. If you've been to the rooftop party last night and your head's a little bit sore, I'm very grateful that you've all turned up. We are nothing to do with the monkeys, okay? But that song might stay in your head and it might be there for quite a while. Welcome, everybody, if you're joining us online. Lovely to be here. It's a bit wet in Prague. I just want to say, I come from Scotland and we do rain, but this is rain of a whole new level. So I'm very grateful for everybody who's joined us today. That's what I'm going to do in the next 25 minutes. Now, what's going to happen is some of you will look at this and go, education, not what I was here for, and you might leave. But I'm going to try and compete with you. I'm going to try and tell you a story and make you care. And the story is going to take you forwards and backwards in time. So it's a little bit interactive. I want you to think about knowing what you know now, knowing where you are now. What do you wish someone had told you at 13? What do you wish someone had told you when you were at school? And Oliver and all of the team have been working really hard. We've got video clips, so we're praying and keeping our fingers crossed that this all works. But this is a story with some words that might do something to you in your own story about what you wish someone had told you when you were 13. To the misfits, the shouldn't fits, and the won't fits. To the quiet ones in the corner, the introverts and the don't say it rights. The ones with ideas worth shouting about, but not yet the voice to do it. The fidgeters, doodlers and dreamers. This right here is your power. The power to know how people should feel and what they need to understand. This is not confidence, not yet. This is empathy brewing within you. It is also creativity, imagination, and the power to see things differently. It is the desire to make different happen, or better happen, the beautiful, and the I can't believe it happen. You have the power to generate wonder in others. Remember that. Now write, draw, design, create. For one day it will make you fly. So what is Daydream Believers? We are a group of people who thought about what needed to change in the world. A group of people who dream and do. What did we do? We built something, free classroom-ready resources that we believe have the capacity to create the future change makers. We've been incredibly lucky in the 3 years that we have been going as a not-for-profit organization to have been able to link up with universities, colleges, big brands like Rockstar Games, Skyscanner, and Lego. And with all of them, we came with that question, what do you wish someone had told you at 13? And help us to get that into the classroom. We are taking the real and wicked challenges of our world at the minute and placing that real world context in our classrooms. I don't know for anyone who's working in innovation if this relates to you, but it describes our lives on a daily basis. You have a great idea and then you plummet into the pit of your stomach. And that is when you know you are in innovation. That is when you know you are doing something interesting. Because look at where B is. That is where you're going to end up. How many of us, when we look back at our classroom and look back at education, can think about and describe it as an experience that was the joy of learning? And what if we could turn that around? What if we could make that different? What if the information and the knowledge that all of us know at the minute about what needs to change in our world, what if we could bring that together and take our collective wisdom and change education, and in doing so, save our planet? So a big part of our story is framed in this. What if we, every one of us, whether you're a sister, a mother, a father, a partner, a teacher, a businesswoman, whatever you are, you're in this question. And you need to tell us what you think is right. We created a different experience. And I'm going to take you from a rainy day in Prague to a sunny, sunny island. And I'm going to ask a what-if question. What if we created a space where young people have greater agency to shape their lives and the systems around it? Welcome to Solarpunk Island. This is a swag bag for everyone in the room. It's a free takeaway that you can use to transform what's happening in classrooms around the world. We welcome you here today as explorers, and we ask you to help us look at what we've created and tell us what we can do with it. When you go on our website, this is what Solarpunk Island looks like. Our young people aged 8 to 28 are imagined that they're going to the Galapagos Island and their boat becomes shipwrecked. They have to survive on a desert island. But in that beautiful solarpunk way of thinking, this is about utopia. Enabling our young people to feel empowered about a different world. This enables you to think about, what if we got it right? What would that look like? Just go back there. We ask them to think about what Solarpunk stands for, and we get them to think about a day in their life on the island. As a class, you get a snatch, you get a bit of the island, and you have to think about, what does that space look like? What do you create that could be a vision of the future for our young people and for our world? We talk about different parts of the island. We move them into different locations, and we set real world challenges. What happens when you live in Windhaven, which looks and feels a bit like Scotland? It's windswept. The winds are ever present. How can that help you? I believe that Solarpunk is a really empowering call to action, particularly for our young people, where it offers them that chance of believing that change can happen, and not to sit in that pit of the stomach moment where you feel completely immobilized and have no control over the future of the world. It enables in the visuals and the look and the style for our young people to dream and to believe that you and them have the capacity for change. It introduces different terminology. Instead of leaders, we talk about relationship whisperers, our community guardians. What does that feel like? We go back in time to what it was like in our caves, where our ability to tell stories changed the way that we think. Storytelling is a gift that we all have, but unfortunately in education, we often drum that out of our young people. Sit down and be quiet. Talk when you're asked to. And what if we change that? We use design thinking in innovation. And if you think about any of the work that's happening today across the conference, I would suggest that this method has at some part been put in place. where you take something, you use it, you reimagine it, and you apply it in a different context. Over the last year, 48 schools and university students have been working on Solarpunk Island, and they have had the most amazing time. We've proved that if you give things for free to schools, if you support them and say, you've got this, change can happen. We've seen things where they take a buddy to the island, they think about what they're going to pack, they have campfires, they imagine a future. But most importantly, even through something like Solarpunk Island Monopoly, their voices are heard. Think about when you were 13 in a classroom. Where was your voice in that classroom? They plan and use the island like a foundation for change. It becomes where that built-up utopia grows. And often big conversations like, is there a government on the island? How do you finance the island? These naturally happen and transpire. And this is a story of a small school in Portobello in Edinburgh, who one brave teacher took their students out in February. And if anybody's been to Scotland, February's not hot. But they managed to convince over 100 young people that they would like to be marooned on a desert island in February.
So Solarpunk Island at Portobello High School is a 2-day immersive experience for our S3 learners. So we've taken them off timetable for 2 days out of their normal classes, and we have given them a scenario-based learning experience where they are marooned on an island, and they have been working through a series of challenges to promote creative thinking. So the idea behind that was that they draw on all their prior learning in the curriculum areas, and we sort of culminate in this experience where they're asked to embed all these skills and all this knowledge to look at research, conceptualising ideas, feeling, fixing, presenting and evaluating.
I've absolutely loved it so far because it helped me to go outside of my comfort zone and do different things that I wouldn't normally get to do in lessons at school.
The kind of creative thinking aspect is really good because it helps you learn how to generate ideas under pressure and in a group as well. And I think that was quite different from school and would be helpful for the future.
I think it was really interesting to see what they could come up with, and the course was really fun, it was really engaging, it was exciting, it was a new experience for everyone, I think. So yeah, I think Solarpunk was a really good thing.
After a chance encounter with Helena from Daydream Believers at a networking event on creative thinking in Edinburgh, she let me know about a CPD event that was happening up in Forres in partnership with Glasgow School of Art, and I decided that I was going to book a ticket and that I wanted to know more about it. I was bitten by the bug. I was completely energised, re-energised, excited. The experience in Forres was so sort of transformative for me and my teaching practice at that time. It was exactly what I needed. I could see it working with the young people that I work with in Portobello High School. I could literally visualise them doing the things that we were doing. And I just really, really wanted to encourage the young people to have similar experiences.
Well, I think in the real world, there's a massive focus on both independence and presenting. And we did get a lot of independence when we were working on Solarpunk. And also, I know that there were members of my team who were terrified of presenting, like didn't want to do the final presentation, wanted to forfeit the final. But they powered through and did it, and they were so proud of themselves after. And I think that having that skill in a safe environment now is so important and is still going to be important when we get into the world of work.
I love a good bit of working out and things like that. And sometimes there's a place for it. But I think showing them, not just telling them how to use it in the real world, but showing them how to use it in the real world, I think is just so invaluable. And it's such a good way to spend our time in class. Like vectors, right? Vectors, you could teach, put them in a boat on a river, like paddle. That is vectors. Like how cool would it be to just give them experiences in real life that they can actually do maths in a boat? That'd be cool. Yeah. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I love it.
When they have a hook, when they are inspired and encouraged, then they're much more likely to be invested, which makes our job much easier. And I have to say, I haven't felt pride like this in a really long time. When you watch the young people and what they're capable of, it's really quite special and quite profound.
So I started off and I said, tell me a story, make me care. I may already have lost you. You may already be thinking, should I go for coffee? But I ask you, even at this point in time, that's my LinkedIn. If something already through this is sparking with you, if you start to think that we could help you, we could be part of this. There are schools, I'm a parent, there are schools in my area, there are schools I went to that this would be interesting to share with. So in the final part of the presentation, I'm going to take you into the present and the future. Talking about Gen AI in education is a really important issue. And in some cases, it is being embraced head on. And in others, we're just building walls and pretending it isn't happening. We're working with big agencies like Dentsu Creative to look at how we can empower our young people and our teachers to use Gen AI in an informative way. But more importantly, we're using creative thinking and a new qualification in creative thinking for 15 to 18-year-olds that embeds Gen AI in that iterative process. It supports you and all of us to think about our own operating system. WALL-E is one of the most profound movies I think you'll ever watch, and maybe I'm biased, but when you look at some of the predictions of the future, in many cases, we're not far off that. What we wanted to do in support with Education Scotland and to be able to share this freely with schools, anyone around the world, was create a travel guide for Gen AI. We've looked at ways that we can support our young people with prompt engineering. What does that look like in an educational experience and landscape? And we've built a website that's become a handrail for Gen AI in education. We've looked at ethics, resources, and sharing events. So again, as a call out, if you are interested in this and you would like to spotlight some of the work that you're currently doing, please let us know and we can do that for you. But we have to support our teachers and our learners to look at Gen AI in biology, in chemistry, in mathematics, right across the curriculum. We've got to show them some of the tools, but we've got to make sure that we update this on a 3-weekly basis, because you and I know that these things are changing. We've seen what happens when Gen AI comes to Solarpunk Island, when our young people use it to imagine a vision of the future and create homes, sustainable places that inspire and encourage every one of us to think differently and be brave in that thinking. We've used Midjourney as part of the experience and shown how our young people and our teachers can use that to embed that kind of thinking. But Solarpunk Island is only one part of our map of dreams. One of the visions we have in our education system is that instead of, as at 11 or 13, you look at a timetable that says 50 minutes of maths, 50 minutes of science, 50 minutes of art, that actually your timetable says Solarpunk Island. And that's what science, maths, English, languages, that's how it's taught. And we're doing that not just with Solarpunk Island, again aimed at sort of 7 to 14-year-olds, but we've also introduced C-Story. Unless we think differently about what's happening in our schools, then the 13-year-olds who are currently sitting in the classroom, perhaps that you were in, been delivered the same kind of materials and resources and experience that were happening when you were there, things are not going to change. See Story works with a beautiful film agency called Studio Birthplace, who look at how you story tell. And our young people are equipped with the skills to tell a story about the ecosystems of the oceans and enabled to empower and share that story with people across the world. As I come to the end of the presentation, I want you to go back to your 13-year-old self in that classroom. And I want you to think about, was there a teacher who made you feel like that? Can you remember a situation in education that someone truly said that to you? I see you, I hear you, you matter. When we summarize up Daydream Believers, that is very much at the heart of it. We believe that every young person should be given an opportunity for that to be felt. And we truly believe that if any of us are talking about complex system change, we need to fundamentally change what's happening in education. When I put that call out, it's easy for all of us in education to say, I'm not a teacher, I'm not involved, I'm not here for that. And yet every single one of us has a calling. We are all in this experience. What Daydream Believers has done is created an online global platform for your story, your insights, your thoughts about what needs to change, to sit alongside some of those bigger brands. We have a dream to create a new qualification that has no exams. That qualification works in the UK, but has ability to be transformed and used across the world. What if you had taken that qualification? Would you be on the same path? Would things have been easier? So I ask you just to think about, who do we need to talk to? Who do we need to let know about Solarpunk Island? And I think fundamentally for all of us to walk away and think about that creative bravery line. How can we support our learners to move out of the pit of the stomach, to feel immobilized, and to believe that their voice has no voice in it, that they have no voice in it, but to believe that they can fundamentally change things. I'm very grateful to Oliver and Althea for the opportunity to be here. That's Daydream Believers. I'm Helena Good. Send me an email if you're interested in having a conversation. Thank you very much.
We have time for a question or two, if anyone has one.
And don't worry, at the back.
Hang on one second, let's get you a mic so we can hear you.
Do you also offer your program in other languages or just English?
So one of the things that we're working with funders at the minute is to be able to translate these into different languages. And if you know of anyone that you think might be interested in that, please also let us know. And that is our dream, to make this an absolute global platform, but also using AI to help to do that in a very straightforward, simple kind of way. Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Good.
All right.
I think we've done. So thank you very much for the invite, and hope to maybe have a chat with you later on. Okay.
Thank you so much, Helena. That's really powerful stuff. Again, we're going to break for a few minutes, and we'll be back with our next speaker.